Welcome back to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. I am here with Amber, and we are talking all things alignment in business. And before the break, she dropped that truth bomb on us that if something doesn't quite feel right, if we're missing something or we don't feel like we're operating in a method that's in alignment with our core truth, our core values, what we stand for in business, pause, do not press go, do not automate and accelerate that. Let's fix it now before we amplify that with technology such as artificial intelligence. Yes, I know we've been talking about AI for a long time and more people are starting to integrate it. So Amber, using AI without losing your true alignment, your humanity, and your authenticity. Where does AI fit into aligned business growth?
Absolutely. I love this topic because it's a little controversial that on the top of my book here, I put human made. And so people are like, what? Why did you put that on the cover? And it's not because I'm trying to take a stand against AI. I love AI. I use it all day, every day to accelerate my thinking, to help me troubleshoot, but it will never replace my voice, my deepest truth. And that's the distinction. Now, AI can, upload my book, it can give me some sound bites, but I then have the ultimate say of discernment to make sure that when I put out a piece of content, I am only speaking to one individual, and that is my avatar, Heather. That I know my vision is to help her feel heard, seen, and valued in this moment, because what we both have in common is the fight for freedom of self-expression and to feel self-reliant in this world. And I just know that by putting my alignment on top of AI, that I am going to be able to connect with my audience and activate and convert them in a more natural way.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's break that down. I mean, there are a ton of tools available. How do leaders, entrepreneurs, founders avoid the trap of over automation? We're seeing it. We're seeing automation. We're seeing the AI over automation, and in some instances, it's getting a little bit aggressive or pushy. Sometimes very snarky, and there's just no kind of humanity left in some of the automations, especially on social media and messaging and email. So how do you maintain the human touch in areas like marketing, leadership communication, some of these things that have kind of been a little or over automated at this point in time? How do you balance that automation with authenticity?
Well, remember differentiation. So if everybody else is starting to be chaotic in their marketing and they're cutting up editing and adding emojis and sounds, and it's really messy and crazy, my social media is going to be calming, less edits, right? Something that feels very different from that kind of noise. And then again, if I'm even creating a piece of content where it's been scripted in advance and I'm using a teleprompter, I might get AI to help me frame it, but then I'm going to edit it to make sure that it is the way I would say it to my avatar in that moment, based on what I know from a human level. So I think that AI can get us 80% of the way there, maybe 90%, but we need to take it that last percentage and then use our brains around what's going to make me stand out in the marketplace and how can I make sure that I am keeping my end customer in mind as a living, breathing human that is deeply afraid, guarded, uncertain, probably overwhelmed, exhausted, right? Not that I'm trying to paint a doom and gloom picture, but that does sum up how a lot of people are feeling right now. So as long as I maintain that awareness of like really wanting to be in service to my audience, then it's going to work for me.
I love that. And I want to kind of I don't like to dwell on the negative either, but let's talk a little bit about the emotional cost of tech overload and digital
Oh,
exhaustion because we are
a lot.
seeing it. So many
Yeah.
people are like, I just can't anymore. I don't want one more platform. I don't want to, and founders don't want to do this. I actually literally was just talking to a couple of founders last night about this at an in-person event, and they're like, I just can't do social media anymore because it is so much noise. I'm overwhelmed, and now that I've got automations, I don't have to do the things that are crazy. So how are you dealing with that emotional toll you see when teams and leaders rely too heavily on tech, or even the founders are like, wait, I just can't anymore. I'm mind blown right now.
Yeah, you have to listen to that and protect yourself. I mean, I am not somebody that spends a lot of time on social media. I batch record a lot of my video content and I have a team that disperses it for me and they alert me when there are certain comments or DMs that I could respond to, but I protect my energy at all costs because I am one person that is responsible for a lot of clients, team, communities. I really have an interest in changing the world of publishing, which is no small goal. And so if I go down mentally, then the whole thing collapses. So I'm not subscribed to a bunch of newsletters. I'm very protective about my input. I have one source of news that I look at once a day for about 7 minutes. And I'm just, when I go to social media for maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day, Jen, my feed is full of artists and nature videos and musicians and people that inspire me. And so I just have to really protect that at all costs. And I recommend the same thing, not just for founders, but also team. And founders, if you're not paying attention to your team's mental health, then let this be your wake up call because they are struggling with it probably far more so than you are because you know better. Like you're in mastermind circles and you're a part of, the communication and culture that's protecting CEOs, but what about teams?
Mm.
So, yeah, I think it's a healthy move into self-protection.
And so as someone who is doing this work in this space, like what's one way that everybody watching can maybe review their workflows and determine, is this tool helping us reduce friction, or is it just adding to that noise and that tech overload? Like, what is your go-to advice for people when they're working with their teams?
Well, one that could be helpful for you is honestly use AI to help you solve the answer, like solve the problem. You could voice note into AI all of the things that you're thinking and feeling and experiencing in all of these different areas and ask AI to assess what it just picked up from your, admission basically. And you can find a lot of incredible data points that way. So I mean, that's one thing that you could try. But the second thing, Jen, is I just heavily listen to my body. So if I'm doing a task and all of a sudden I notice my heart increase, I notice that my energy starts to drop, or I'm out of breath, or I just feel exhausted, that is cue number one that I need to take a step back and really assess if this is important. Do I need to be doing this? Can somebody else do it? Can AI get rid of it for me? So that I am only doing activities that are life giving and not life taking.
I love that. And so, Amber, we are getting kind of near the close, and I want to make sure that if people are watching, they have a way to get in touch with you. If they're listening, how can they reach out to you? We've already talked a little bit about your book. So, how can they pick up your book? How can they reach out to learn more about getting their business into alignment, so that they can not only grow, but scale in a way that's authentic to them and just brings joy?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, my work in the world is to help people feel self-reliant and free. I think entrepreneurship is the way to get that. And one of the fastest ways to scale is by launching a book. So when you get your content out into the world, it's your biggest differentiator. My book is called Infinite Impact. You can find it on Amazon. If you Google Amber Vilhauer, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one in the world with that name. So, like, I'm everywhere. But my work in the world is really to help entrepreneurs write a great book, to launch it, make it a bestseller, and use that as a tool to leverage to really scale your profit and your impact. And it's been a 20-year incredible business. I'm so grateful. And I'm very accessible. If anybody has questions or feedback on this episode, I'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic. So we have just one more minute. Based off of everything we've talked about today, is there anything that you really want to share with the audience, or an action that you would love for them to take?
Yes, and it's what my company stands for. NGNG stands for No Guts, No Glory. And this is not a time to shrink. This is a time to lean in, find your courage, find your resiliency, reconnect with your deepest values, beliefs, and why, and get up and go lead because humanity needs you right now. No guts, no glory.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for bringing your expertise to everybody who's watching today. I really appreciate you being on, Amber.
Thanks so much.
And you, yes, you, unfortunately, all good things do come to an end, including this show, but you have an action step and I love it. No guts, no glory. Show up as entrepreneurs, as executives, as investors. We are the leaders who are going, we have an opportunity to shape the world and make it a better place. So today's the day to take that action, whatever that means for you when you do your reflection. Good news is we'll be here same time, same station next week. So until then, win today, win this week, and we'll see you next time.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.